Welcome back to the channel, my spooky friends. I'm Sam, and I'm here to take you on a journey into the darkest corners of our world. Tonight, we delve into the realm of the unexplained as we explore the chilling tales of ghostly apparitions sighted in deserted train cars. Imagine the silence of a forgotten rail yard, the rusting hulks of trains standing as tombstones to a bygone era. It's in these forgotten spaces, steeped in shadow and silence, where the veil between our world and the next wears thin. Tonight, we'll uncover 3 encounters with spectral passengers. So dim the lights, get comfortable, and prepare to be transported to a realm where the living and the dead share a ride into the unknown. Our first story takes us to the outskirts of a forgotten town, a place reclaimed by nature, where the only sound is the wind whistling through the gaps in the rotting timbers of the train depot. It's here we find Michael, an urban explorer with a thirst for uncovering the secrets hidden within forgotten places. The old depot was a treasure trove of forgotten relics, but it was the abandoned train sitting on a siding that called to Michael, its rusted exterior whispering tales of a time long gone. The train car was dimly lit by the slivers of moonlight that pierced the boarded-up windows. Dust motes danced in the stale air, swirling patterns that hinted at unseen movements. As Michael stepped inside, the air grew heavy, thick with the weight of unseen eyes. The train car was empty, stripped bare, its wooden benches cracked and splintered, yet Michael couldn't shake the feeling that he was not alone. A low hum vibrated in the air, a deep, resonating sound that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the train car. The hair on the back of Michael's neck stood on end. His heart pounded in his chest like a drumbeat, urging him to flee. Then he saw him. At the far end of the car, a figure began to coalesce from the shadows. It was the outline of a man, tall and skeletal, dressed in what appeared to be a conductor's uniform, his hat pulled low over his face. The figure moved with a slow, deliberate grace, his gloved hand gliding along the rusted metal bars as he walked. Michael stood frozen, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. The figure paused, its head tilting slightly as if listening for a sound that only it could hear. Then it turned, and for a fleeting moment, Michael could have sworn he saw a pair of eyes, glowing with an eerie internal light, staring directly at him. The figure glided closer, and Michael found himself unable to move, his feet rooted to the spot as if the very air had turned to concrete. The hum grew louder, the vibration intensifying until Michael could feel it in his teeth. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure flickered, its form dissolving into the shadows like mist on a summer morning. The hum faded, leaving behind an echoing silence that was somehow more unnerving than the presence of the spectral conductor. Michael, his heart pounding in his chest, stumbled back towards the open door, his eyes darting around the darkened train car, searching for any sign of the ghostly figure. He didn't waste any time lingering. He ran, his footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night, the image of the phantom conductor seared into his mind. Our next story takes us to a different kind of playground for thrill seekers. An abandoned train yard on the wrong side of the tracks. It's a place where the air hangs heavy with the weight of forgotten memories, and the silence is broken only by the whisper of the wind through broken windows. It's here we meet a group of friends out to test their courage and maybe capture a few spooky shots for their social media. There was Emily, the skeptic, always ready with a logical explanation. Jake, the daredevil, always pushing the limits, eager to be the first one to step into the darkness. And then there was Chloe, the sensitive one who felt the weight of unseen eyes the moment they stepped foot in the yard. They had heard whispers of the vanishing passenger, a ghostly figure spotted on the old security cameras, a fleeting shadow that appeared and disappeared without a trace. The legend was that the figure was the ghost of a young woman who had been murdered on that very train, her body never found. Armed with flashlights and cameras, they boarded the first train car, their laughter echoing in the emptiness. The air inside was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Graffiti covered the walls, a testament to the countless souls who had sought refuge or excitement within the train's rusted shell. They moved from car to car, their excitement growing with each creaking step, each flicker of their flashlights revealing nothing but more darkness, more emptiness. Just when their nerves were starting to fray, they found it. The sleeper car. The air was colder here, heavier, as if an unseen presence had settled over the space. The curtains were drawn, plunging the narrow corridor into an impenetrable blackness. Jake, ever the daredevil, was the first to enter. He threw open the curtains of the first compartment, revealing a small, dusty room with a bunk bed and a small table. Nothing. The next compartment was the same, and the next and the next. Just when they were about to give up, Chloe let out a gasp. "There," she whispered, pointing to the last compartment. In the dim light filtering through the dusty window, they could make out a figure sitting on the lower bunk. It was a woman, her hair long and dark, her head bowed as if in prayer. "Hello?" Emily called out, her voice trembling slightly. The figure didn't move. They cautiously approached the compartment, their hearts pounding in their chests, their eyes glued to the shadowy figure. As they drew closer, they could have sworn they saw the figure's head turn, her eyes, two dark, empty sockets, staring directly at them. Then, just as quickly as it had appeared, the figure vanished. They tore through the compartment, their fear quickly turning to confusion, then disbelief. There was nowhere for the figure to have gone. The windows were sealed shut, the door locked from the inside. It was impossible. Shaken and bewildered, they made their way back through the train, their laughter silenced, their footsteps hurried. Our final story takes us deeper into the realm of the paranormal, to a place where fear is a constant companion, and the veil between our world and the next is tissue thin. This is the story of Mark, a paranormal investigator with a reputation for seeking out the most haunted locations, a man who walked with ghosts. Mark had heard the stories, the whispers of the haunted sleeper car, a relic of a bygone era that had been the site of a horrific train crash. A tragedy that claimed the lives of dozens of passengers, their souls forever bound to the rusted metal and decaying wood. Tonight, he would face them. Armed with his EMF reader, EVP recorder, and a camera that could pierce the veil of darkness, Mark stepped into the sleeper car, the door clanging shut behind him like the jaws of a steel trap. The air was thick with the weight of sorrow, the lingering scent of decay mingling with the phantom aroma of burnt coffee and old cigarettes. He moved slowly through the narrow corridor, his flashlight cutting through the darkness, illuminating the faded elegance of a bygone era. The plush velvet seats were ripped and torn, the once gleaming wood paneling now scratched and scarred, as if clawed by unseen hands. The EMF reader sputtered to life, its lights flickering erratically as he passed the first compartment. A cold spot settled in the air, a bone-chilling chill that seemed to seep into his very bones. He stopped, his breath misting in the air, his eyes scanning the darkness. "Is anyone here?" he asked, his voice a low rumble that echoed through the empty car. A beat of silence, then a soft whisper, barely audible above the creaking of the train, seemed to answer back. He couldn't make out the words, but the tone, filled with a deep, bone-chilling sorrow, sent a shiver down his spine. He continued down the corridor, each step filled with a growing sense of dread. The whispers grew louder, accompanied by the soft murmur of conversations, the clinking of glasses, the phantom sounds of a journey long over. He stopped outside a compartment, the door slightly ajar. He pushed the door open, revealing a scene frozen in time. Two figures, their forms shimmering with an ethereal glow, sat facing each other, engaged in animated conversation. A man in a pinstripe suit, his hair slicked back, gestured with a ghostly cigar, while a woman in a flowing gown, her face hidden behind a delicate fan, laughed softly. He raised his camera, snapping a picture. The flash illuminated the compartment for a split second, then darkness swallowed them whole. He checked the camera. The image was blank, as if the camera itself refused to capture the ghostly tableau. He moved on, his heart pounding in his chest, his senses on high alert. The air crackled with energy, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. He felt a presence behind him, turned, and found himself face to face with a young boy, his eyes wide and frightened, his clothes torn and bloodied. Thank you for joining us on this eerie journey into the heart of haunted trains and spectral passengers. We've explored the chilling tales of those who remain trapped between stations, their spirits forever bound to the rails. If you enjoyed tonight's stories and want to delve deeper into the mysteries of the unexplained, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a chilling tale. Remember to leave a comment below with your thoughts on these encounters. Have you ever had a paranormal experience on a train, or perhaps you know of another haunted railway we should explore? Until next time, sweet dreams, or should I say terrifying ones.